Today on Real Pilates, we're going to continue to talk about reflexes. We're going to break down different kinds of reflexes. There are many, but let's just look at the four basic groups. Remember, a reflex is a movement that happens with your peripheral central nervous system, your peripheral nervous system, and your central nervous system, bypassing the brain. But the spine is involved. Ooh, it's a gang bang without the brain. There is what is called the stretch reflex. And the stretch reflex is something, let's say that there's a bright light, your eye will automatically change the tone of that muscle without you thinking of it to protect the retina and the cornea back there, and it will close the eye. There is, thank you for that heart. There is the Golgi reflex, which is a reflex that your tendons have. So your tendons will tighten or relax your muscle to avoid an injury. As you're falling, if you try to hold a stretch, and I always tell you that, when you hold a passive stretch, like put your leg down and just push on it, your Golgi reflex will protect that joint for a certain amount of time. It depends. Some people it's 4 seconds, some people it's 8, some people it's 6 seconds. But after that, that tendon can no longer protect that joint, and now you are putting pressure and damage on that joint unnecessarily. Passive stretching is yesterday. It's like the grandma underwear up to your chin. We don't do it. There's another reflex called the cross extensor limb reflex, and it's natural. You ever notice if you're, let's say you're standing and you're reaching over, let's say to put the sheet on the bed, you reach over, you may automatically pick up one leg. That is a reflex that happens without you thinking about it for your body to maintain balance. And if you pay attention, if you're extending your right arm, your left leg is the one that's going to want to come up. I use all of these techniques of reflex in the Pilates sessions as I build them. So I secretly, clandestine, the way I've always done Pilates, behind everyone's back. I give them Pilates, but I don't tell them I'm giving them Pilates. Well, now I'm out of the bag, but there's a lot of work that I do within the classes that I don't talk about. But I involve movements to strengthen your reflex time and agility so that you can have a better lifestyle. The other reflex is the withdrawal reflex. So if you touch something hot, you don't even have a second to think about it. Your hand jerks away something sharp and something pinchy. So it's an somatic, automatic is another two kinds of reflex arc. Okay, so within the reflex, there's 4 basic categories, and then they're broken down into 2, which are somatic and automatic. So somatic is skeletal, so like you would jerk your hand away. But then the autonomic is more smooth muscle fiber. So if you're choking on something and you gag and you cough, that is a reflex. I hate to say it, but even when you hurl, that is a reflex that if you've ingested something poisonous, your body's going to hurl it out of you to save you from absorbing that toxicity. And it's a good thing, although we hate it. And I cry every time, and I tie up my hair. The toilet bowl has to be impeccable. I have to be totally naked. You don't want to know. Okay, so these are also other reflexes. Interesting enough, in babies, newborns, crying is a reflex, and it is a reflex for survival. And babies will cry when they're cold, when they're hungry, when they're scared, and when they're uncomfortable, like wet in their diapers, which can lead to them becoming ill. Interesting enough, it's important for you to know that a lot of premature babies don't have that survival reflex in them yet. So if you have or know of someone that has a premature baby, you have to really keep better eye on those babies because they don't have that natural response to crying. It takes time for them to develop it. Some babies have it, some preemies have it, but some of them don't. So the Pilates will help strengthen and improve your trigger response so that you have a hyper protection level, because your reflexes are your protection. Sleeping, eating properly, training. are things that are going to help you with your reflexes. The reflex is something that happens, as we say, outside the brain. But remember that reflex, there's going to be a muscle, there's going to be a force, and there's a speed, and then there's a range of which that muscle is going to work to protect your body. So keeping your body fit is going to help your reflexes stay tip top so that you can stay safe and out of anything that may come flying your way. This is Pilates Master Nikki, and I'll see you soon for another layer of real Pilates.